Hip-hop is a game of chess. One wrong move, and you'll be scrambling to get back to the position you were in before. But sometimes, it's just straight up impossible. And in the case of Chance the Rapper, his queen might have inadvertently led him to losing the game entirely.
All right, Chance the Rapper's wife has officially filed for divorce. Kristen Corley, she was in court Friday and filed for divorce. They were married for 5 years. They announced their separation back in April, and now she's made the first move as far as filing for divorce. So they do have a prenup. The kids live with their mom, Kirsten, and she's just saying irreconcilable differences. She wants child support, and she's waiving maintenance.
It's your boy Louaista, and this is how Chance the Rapper's marriage ruined his career. Commanding 8 million monthly listeners, Chance the Rapper is still, for all intents and purposes, a success. From serving as a judge on The Voice to making guest appearances and hosting TV shows and movies, Chano from 79th is still in the spotlight, just not for what originally made him famous. Because when it comes to music, he hasn't appeared on the charts since 2020, and that's a far cry from when he was the hottest thing in the industry and other stars gravitated towards him.
Drake, I'm also coming for your muscles. So, videos and muscles, I'm on your ass.
Drake?
Oh my God, that was yours.
That happened. That happened.
In a reflective list, Complex even recently argued that he was the best rapper alive back in 2016. And while I don't know about that, he definitely was popping at the time, and for good reason. After releasing standout projects like 10 Day, Acid Rap, and Coloring Book, Chance earned Grammy Awards, met presidents, and even turned his iconic 3 hats into a phenomenon, raking in $6 million in just 1 year.
Been paid for college, been paid for braces, been paid for ballet classes, been paid for debate classes.
How much merch money you making, man?
Lessons.
Come on, give it up.
I made $6 million in 1 year off these hats, yo. I'm buying these hats.
Then why did I pay for the $3?
At the height of his fame and influence, some revered tastemakers in the culture even speculated that he might be the next great commercial star.
Yo, Drake album better be fire, man. This nigga Chance, this nigga is just waiting, man. This nigga's waiting. Nigga talking about him going to church. Chance might be the one, man. It don't even matter if you like him or not. Chance just, he's setting it up right now. He's setting it up. He's gonna be the guy. He's gonna be the guy. Give it like.
But you guys.
And crazily, he was doing it all independently, sticking a middle finger up to every lucrative offer that came his way from a record company just because he could. He once explained this in an interview with GQ, where he claimed that record labels are more focused on boasting about the artists they've signed and treating it more like a competition, which was a game that he had no interest in being a part of. I make my money off of touring and merchandise, and I'm lucky I have really loyal fans that understand how it works and support. I don't see myself ever being in a position where I need to sign to a label, but soon, that would all come crumbling down. And while it's not exactly uncommon for a personal issue to get in the way of an artist's career, Chance might go down in history as the only man in hip-hop whose marriage wrecked his career in a way that even as they go their separate ways, he might not come back from. In April of this year, hip-hop received some shocking news from Chance the Rapper's Instagram account. Suddenly, it appeared that Chance, who was basically the poster boy for Marshall Bliss in hip-hop, was leaving his wife behind. Before I read what he said on Instagram, let me tell you guys about today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Now, managing your finances can feel overwhelming, but Rocket Money makes it simple. Did you know that 85% of people have at least one paid subscription that they're not using each month? Well, Rocket Money helps you find those hidden charges, shows all your subscriptions in one place, and even helps you cancel the ones that you no longer need, all in just a few taps. Rocket Money isn't just about subscriptions though. Their dashboard gives you a clear view of all your expenses, helping you create personalized budgets and track spending trends. Plus, they'll even try to negotiate lower bills for you, taking on customer service so you don't have to. It's financial wellness made easy. With over 5 million users and $500 million in saved cancel subscriptions, Rocket Money is helping people save up to $740 a year. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and start reaching your financial goals today at rocketmoney.com/Lou. That's rocketmoney.com/Lou. I'll leave a link in the description box down below so you can easily click it and sign up for free today. I want to thank Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video, but now let's get back into it. After a period of separations, the two of us have arrived at the decision to part ways. We came to this amicably and with gratitude for the time we spent together. God has blessed us with two beautiful daughters who we will continue to raise together. We kindly ask for privacy and respect as we navigate this transition. Thank you, Chance and Kirsten. For fans of his, the news that he was parting ways with Kirsten Corley after being childhood sweethearts was shocking, because quite frankly, it had been such a big part of his identity that he was regularly mocked for it online. And even as the news emerged, people didn't exactly lay off the wisecracks. Is there a chance the rapper wasn't wrapping it up? She wants to take a chance with someone new. She knows where the fitted cap money is hid. The writing on the wall has been there for a while, particularly after Chance seemed to get a little cozy with other women at a carnival in April of 2023.
Chance the Rapper said it's his birthday.
And at the time, this sparked debate, not just in the comment sections of the video, but all corners of the internet.
If you got a video and that was your girl and I don't know, some other artist, and you see that video and you're nowhere near like what's going on, you're not aware until you see that video, you would have an issue with that.
Of course, but I believe in double standards and I have a bit of misogyny in my DNA. This is supposed to be carnival. This is part of it. He was just there enjoying the culture.
Yeah.
You've been on Eastern Parkway.
Yeah, I've been to carnival for real. Yeah.
So if you go to, like, for real go to carnival, it's even crazier.
Yeah,
it's the norm. Even, respectfully, Nicki was dancing with somebody when she went down to Trinidad for carnival. Like, that's part of the culture and the celebration.
Yeah, but my girl, that part of the culture, my wife ain't doing. My wife can't be bent over in less than a bikini with beads all around her and some random dude just behind her gyrating. Like, I love the culture, but we don't love it that much.
Not to mention, leading to even more memes.
I love my wife. I love my wife. Ah! Let's go ride a bike with my wife.
After these warning signs, Kirsten officially filed for divorce in December of 2024. While it's unclear what she aims to gain from the settlement, the most surprising part of their relationship is how much Chance focused on praising her. So much so that she had already diminished his credibility and buzz well before they reached the courtroom. Things haven't always been easy when it comes to Chance and Kirsten. As early as 2017, they briefly split apart, eventually leading to a fight over child support agreements for their first child, with a lawyer revealing that this case ended quickly because of the unusually high level of cooperation between the parents putting their child's best interests first. After they reconciled, Chance alluded to wanting to turn my baby mama into my fiance on songs like All We Got, before saying that, man, my daughter couldn't have a better mother. If she ever finds another, he better love her. And these days, it looks like that might be about to become a reality. Even though as late as 2022, Kirsten seemed like his ride or die. She even defended him after he liked some dubious X-rated posts online.
Y'all really be reaching, and he's never gonna address this, but all I have to say is we were literally at an event all night last night. Not last night, the night before last, until late. We were celebrating. So sometimes shit is on accident. So all y'all little trolls coming to my page that are getting blocked, y'all can go to hell.
In return, he always showed her the utmost respect in public, even though he didn't fully understand why she ever took him back in the first place.
I can't really explain what happened on my wife's side because she was good. She had money, she had her own place, she had opportunities. And so I would just say the grace of God is what got me back with her. Like, obviously I figured out what was wrong personally, and I had to have that own personal conviction. But like it being this good, I can't explain.
There's nothing like that stability in marriage.
Nothing at all.
Because you was a cheater probably.
Because I was a cheater, and also because we were out of that connected space where we were on the same team.
So how does that mean that the marriage ruined his career? Well, it's simple. Chance devoted an entire album to it that turned out to be trash. Released after years of anticipation, Chance's first studio album, The Big Day, was a concept record about his wedding. And to say that people didn't like it would be a major, major understatement. It's one of the only 13 albums that Anthony Fantano gave a literal 0 out of 10 for his Needle Drop channel.
It's either falling short because the base concept is terrible, or it's just been carried out in an awful way. I did not love a single song from this album, not one single track. There were moments where I caught a breath, but it just did not pan out. I am genuinely feeling like a strong 0 on this record. It's like a strong 0 to a light 1.
While famous commentators in the space, such as Joe Budden, were calling it too Disney.
I didn't like none of that shit I heard when I got here. But I only heard like the end of whatever Parks was playing. Okay. Just sounded really Disney.
And even someone like Big Quint, who always seems to have an amazing time reacting to music, genuinely did not like the project throughout the duration of his 22-minute long video.
I was sitting in the waiting room together with ya. Magazines,
It's like there's hints of what I remember Chance for that are sprinkled in all of these tracks thus far. And I'm not saying that artists should be able to, keep giving the same. No, I'm saying if you're gonna do some different shit, make it interesting. And that's why I'm not really feeling this right now, because these songs don't come off as interesting for me.
It even led to the existence of a meme song that's probably more loved than anything on the album itself.
Ooh, I love my wife. I love my wife. Ah! Let's go ride a bike.
In interviews after the fact, such as his trip to the Breakfast Club, Chance tried to explain his intentions with the project, citing every potential reason aside from the fact that many of the songs on the album were a travesty.
I don't understand why hip-hop has no problem with people talking about degrading women, but when it comes to loving your woman and being with your wife and embracing her and celebrating that, they was giving you flack for it.
Yeah, it's beyond social media. That's just one avenue. There's a spiritual warfare going everywhere we go, beyond just social media or music or whatever. And there's certain things that we would deem positive things for us and our community especially. I would say the number one thing that you could do right now as a black man is find your black woman counterpart.
At the time, he was really struggling to handle the criticism of the project, even suggesting that people would like him to take drastic action. I'm getting the crazy feeling that people want me to self-delete myself. That's not my vibe at all, but I feel the push. And over time, it was clearly getting to him.
I think for a certain period of time, I got confused. I couldn't understand. More so than that feeling directly. The first feeling I felt was like, I felt like a lot of people were trying to shame me. You know what I'm saying?
For being married?
Yeah. And I understand that it's different kind of thing. We're not used to albums celebrating marriage, especially not rap albums. But it was like the meme, everybody doesn't have to be in on what the main idea is. You could just jump on and not understand your significance or your role in it. When I come out and say something like that, I want everybody to feel me. That's what you do as an artist. You want people to feel you.
As for the end result itself, his revelations about the process made it seem like where he'd previously been focused on one central idea, the concept of this album made him spread himself too thin musically.
Is there anything you would change about the album? Because my only critique of the album was it was too long.
A lot of songs.
I think no. Weddings are long, for one. 22 tracks, but 19 songs with 3 skits. I think that's the perfect explanation of my wedding day. That's how it feels. And also that, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the music on it is based off of the reception, off of like the music that was played at it. And when you're at your wedding, like it's a lot of different kinds of music that are playing. They have along different songs, you know what I'm saying? So
I don't think people understood the narrative of your album, bro. I think when they saw the CD cover and it said the big day, I thought they were thinking about your album release.
But above all else, it seemed like in some ways, this album was an apology to his wife, or a statement of intent about how he was going to move from there on out. Because despite his morals that came through in his music, he alluded to past infidelity.
What made you settle down? Was it a spiritual thing? Because
you gotta understand how famous I was. I know, I'm just saying, like at the time when I was going through that stuff, traveling, hotel parties, club after parties, it's a lifestyle.
I've had other artists tell me that. They'd be like, Chance full of shit. Chance really a ratchet ass dude.
I'm definitely not perfect, you know what I'm saying? And I definitely have gotten better, but it was definitely a point in time where there was nobody really telling me that me not marrying my wife was wrong, other than like my wife and very select friends. And I mean, just being honest. And so it gets rationalized to you that it's like, okay, I made a rap album about God, that's good enough. But like, that shit's not enough.
During his press tour to defend the project, what really came across is that Chance seemed to misinterpret what the problem was. Because while he was right that it's not the usual subject matter of a hip-hop album, no one would have minded it if it was actually of high quality. Love your wife all you want. Just make sure that the song you're doing it on is good. Chance, we love that you love your wife. What we don't love is that the music was whack. No excuses, just do better. Because if you're going to do something like that, it's the kind of move where the music has to be undeniable. And unfortunately, tracks like Hot Shower are anything but that.
For the Big Day was a project that Chance put out, and that's why if you're going to make an album about your significant other, you have to make sure it's really, really good. You have to make sure it's really good so it's received by the public well, because if it's not received by the public well, it could have an impact on your marriage.
Now, he did make an album pretty much about his wife, and people made fun of him. And
the music should have been stellar, is what I'm saying.
With fans believing that he could bounce back, it seemed like all Chance had to do was to get back to his roots in some capacity and lock in to produce something new. But instead, he's let that project linger at the top of his latest release released for 5 agonizing years. And now, rather than being the acid rap guy, he's morphed into the I love my wife guy. And as time passes, it just keeps aging worse and worse. Chance the Rapper officially scores the worst album of all time. Imagine making an album about your marriage, the album flops, then years later, you get divorced. You cannot make this up. Even as the big day continued to hover over his head like a dark cloud, Chance still remained adamant and refused to feel ashamed about the backlash he received.
I could do one or two things. I could either agree with it or I could live my life. If I agree with it, then that means the Breakfast Club fell off. Because y'all don't have people that fell off sitting in a chair, I don't think, usually. So I feel like I gotta stay on my path. Niggas was saying I fell off when I was in high school. I made 4 mixtapes. I could joke about it, but it is tough. But it's like, I don't know. What can I tell people to,
like, what are you gonna argue with?
But what was also missing from the equation was any sort of accountability that he messed up. And if he wasn't going to take it, someone was about to force him to, in the shape of his manager, Pat Corcoran, who blew the lid off not only the creative negligence that led to the album being such a mess, but why his tour was also being suddenly cancelled. In an explosive lawsuit, Pat spared no details about the big day's disastrous rollout. Claiming that he had expressed serious concern with the projected release date Bennett had unilaterally announced for the album. And as the lawsuit states, instead of acknowledging the numerous distractions and artistic compromises that inevitably resulted from time wasted in the studio, all of which contributed to a lackluster album evidenced by historically low ticket sales, Bennett ultimately blamed Corcoran for the judgment rendered by his fan base rather than accept that his own lack of dedication had doomed the project. Pat was publicly calling out Chance, alleging that he was owed over $2.5 million in unreimbursed expenses for supporting and promoting Chance's career. He also reportedly blamed Chance for the album's poor performance and claimed that his advice was ignored. And as his power continued to slip, grievances were now coming out. And crazily, this is something that was predicted on Everyday Struggle long before the Big Day disaster even happened.
If more people share that sentiment, then we'll start to see a similar ripple effect where if you make enough enemies, we're gonna start to hear some stories. Now, I'm not saying people will believe them. I think some stories are gonna start coming out and Chance gonna have to do some bob and weave and fight some of this off. You can't just ignore all of it. We could probably ignore this and shit like this for another year or two. But if enough people start sharing this sentiment, you're gonna have to address it. Let's see.
Within little more than a year, one terrible album about a marriage that wouldn't last churned Chance into a laughingstock.
I say this as somebody with the worst take of the decade in saying that Chance has a chance to grab the baton from Drake. But he was backed by the right people. He was stamped by the right people. The album sounded like it was supposed to sound, and the music business changed rules for him. He had the support. He had political support. He had support from Kanye. This is when you had to kind of be clean and preppy and marketable and just, it looked like if you starting there, our projection is, he about to go crazy. And then even if we was totally off and thinking that he was about to go totally crazy, we would have never predicted from acid rap coloring book that the next project would be my wife and kids-ish.
Where Chance clearly saw the big day and all of its focus on his marriage as the ultimate ticket to acceptance from the mainstream, the whole plot backfired. Because not only did the charts not embrace it, but it also turned hip-hop listeners off in a way that's hard to undo.
When niggas start acting like they're goody two-shoes and we should love their music, hip-hop has always been celebrating the person who's imperfect, the person who came from nothing, who made it something, the person who listened, who never had a silver spoon in his mouth, the person who made mistakes, the person who has a redemption arc, the person who we know ain't, come on, man. That's why when niggas heard that Chance the Rapper album, I love my wife is best, my wife eat my ass, I love my wife, I pray to God every day, God, I love you. Hey, man, trash! Get out of here, nigga!
After releasing a steady stream of singles in 2024, including compelling tracks like the confessional Buried Alive, where he admits to being in a dark place, Chance seems determined to get himself back on the road to where he once was. But it's safe to say that hip-hop's most infamous wife guy is still struggling to outrun the shadows of his biggest misstep. And what's even wilder is that his fans are trying to fight his corner, only to get shut down. I don't know if this just happens to me, but every time I bring up that Chance is my favorite artist, I constantly get hate from the people that I'm telling that to. This honestly gets me angry because Chance really only has one bad album out of a whole discography full of perfect songs, and people are saying he's a bad artist. I agree. I've never seen the public churn so brutally on an artist who didn't do anything worse than releasing a bad album. I can remember a time when the establishment practically worshipped him, and now anytime a critic brings him up, it's always in the context of how the big day sucked, as if his other projects don't exist. I feel bad for the guy. This is the real crux of why it's fair to say that Chance's marriage and the album that followed might have wrecked his career. Because now we're at a point where people like Anthony Fantano thinks that even if the music he's re-emerging with as of late sounds good, there still might not necessarily be any way back at this point.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like what's going to make and break this album is just the framing, because obviously Chance is burying a lot of the narrative here for this upcoming album, for our anticipation for it, in this whole people hate me and I became irrelevant and I fell off and now I'm here, I'm back, I was lonely, I was in a dark place, but I'm better than ever now. But I just sort of wonder if a true successful Chance the Rapper comeback is actually even possible at this point. Not only because Chance has like really kept his fans waiting for this return. The big day also was just kind of allowed to hang out there and fester for so long that it has left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
And unfortunately, these sentiments are echoed by others who feel that these enticing snippets are too little too late, and that the marks left by that project and phase in his career really can't be erased.
I think that's great. Yeah, he could finally make good music. Nah, Chance is washed. But the thing is, an amazing artist, you gonna make even a corny record or a corny concept sound to the best of his abilities. You gonna make it sound amazing. He just wasn't in that space at that time, you know what I'm saying? And that was kind of my issue with the big day. It was just like, oh my God, bro. Like it's presenting itself like it's trying too hard, bro. I get it. You love your wife. I get it. I understand. But now 5 years later, it's like, damn, that album is gonna be a stain.
At the minute, Chance is entering a new era in his life, and people should give him the opportunity to prove what he's got. But sadly, it seems that for a lot of fans, that ship sailed in the form of one historically terrible album that was made in honor of a relationship that couldn't stand the pressures of life. And considering how much talent Chance has, that really is a shame. But it's your boy Louaista, and if you guys like this video, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.